I'm Jake.
I'm Allie.
And welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since you've been here. Last time was about 2.5 years ago with your brother Matt when we reacted to the Willy Wonka Honest trailer.
Oh, I remember.
In the tradition of me having an edgy sense of humor, allow me to say, glad to have you back, bitch.
Glad to be back, cocksucker.
Nice.
Well, that was cute.
To start off this big session of reunion reaction filmings, today we're going to be reacting to a reviewer who has not really been on the review scene for a while, but when he made reviews, goddamn, he made them good. Today we're going to be watching from 2015, Count Jackula and his review of the 1968 mass shooting movie, Targets, showing that we're really relevant with our reactions. And I'll just say, Jackula, he's a horror guy. His whole shtick is, his character is a vampire from outer space who came to Earth to review movies, naturally. And Targets, it's a amazing film starring Boris Karloff in his last role before he died. And the thing I like about this review is it does a great job highlighting a genuinely good film and introducing it to the younger generation. So, you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Without further ado, let's watch this shit.
And that's the scene right now. An
There he
unidentified
is.
person or persons is currently on a shooting rampage. Authorities have yet to positively identify the shooter, but the media is already poised to blame the violence on
CNN.
whatever that thing is the kids do today. Police, led by Officer Matthew Crawford, have chosen to adopt a shoot first and fuck asking questions ever approach.
Also relevant.
Currently, police have tracked the shooter down to this house, currently occupied by one Count Jackula from the planet Dracula.
Oh my god, the editing.
That's his expression.
Yeah.
Details on this
The cinematography is excellent.
He really put a lot of work into his reviews.
Yeah.
CNN.
This must have taken forever.
I'm Tom
Great Kane Hodder! What the hell's going on out there? Dude, were you just outside shooting people? What do I look like? Mass shooter guy? I was born a slasher, and I'll die a slasher. You were born a slasher? Don't worry, Mrs. Slasher. I've done this a million times.
Wait.
Okay, doctor. Okay, push.
Oh my god!
Show that in a POV shot. Good taste is its own reward. Isn't this strikingly similar to that movie you were going to review? How could you even think about reviewing movies at a time like this? Oh, I don't know. Certain death, dramatically convenient circumstances. Sounds like the perfect time. You win this round.
Cue the awesome intro.
Unreal. Oh!
He didn't put out reviews often, but when he chose to, goddamn, he put his work into it.
Seriously.
Shooting sprees are one of the true horrors of the modern age. A seemingly normal-looking
Little
person
too real.
deciding to kill others in a gruesome and public display of violence. Shooting rampages hit us very close to home. Literally. Schools, movie theaters, or just outside your quiet suburban neighborhood. Any location, no matter how comfortable and familiar, could be the scene of the next grisly shooting. In the face of such reality, classic monsters like vampires and werewolves seem almost hokey. What is the terror of fake monsters compared to the terror of such real-world ones? Shootings make us afraid in a way that no fictional monster can. So terrified, in fact, that we'll often reach for the easy answers simply to
Yeah,
make ourselves
they're
feel
still
safe.
doing that shit.
They're
That's
still
why I'm taking
doing
all
that.
my music, movies, and video games, put them into this box along with Matt Slasher's My Little Pony collection, and I'm gonna march right outside and join the concerned parents so I can burn this all publicly. Whew, I feel safer already. Art does not cause shootings, you ass!
The horror guru.
I was gonna
But no matter
say.
how often you bring up the lack of connection between art and real-world violence,
Ooh.
people just gotta blame something. It can never be something obvious as terrible upbringing, extreme PTSD, or mental instability. No, it's gotta be explicit lyrics and music. It's gotta be violent video games. It's gotta be sexism. A Washington Post article once even blamed a shooting rampage on Seth Rogen movies. Oh.
Wait, this is a good gag coming up.
How can you forsake Zack and Miri shoot up our kinder? I mean, really?
The editing is unreal.
However, the
Yeah.
reasons behind shooting rampages are actually much simpler in understanding.
They're graphic.
Today, we're going to be watching one of the finest films about a spree shooting ever committed to cellular. Targets.
Released in 1968, Targets is a little screen gem of late 60s exploitation cinema, coming right out of the schlock mill of Roger Corman himself.
King of the B
However,
movies.
what's really noteworthy about the movie is that it is considered by many to be the farewell performance of the legendary actor, Boris Karloff.
And yeah, I know Targets isn't technically his last film.
We're not counting The Fear Chamber and House of Evil, even though they were directed by exploitation film legend Jack Hill.
Not to diss the Howard Hawks of exploitation.
Yeah.
Jack Hill did a lot of women in prison movies.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah,
I'd love to analyze that.
women go to prison, they either have sex with each other, or the guards, or there's rape. And he also did Spider Baby. Pam Grier.
Oh my gosh. But not their desires.
Legendary face of blaxploitation cinema.
Yeah. I mean, she's hot.
Yep. But also badass.
Yeah. I love a good badass woman.
And of course, Jack Hill.
But those movies are lesser entries into Jack Hill's filmography. Where do you think they rank in the filmography of Boris fucking Karloff?
Pretty
So
low.
while you technically be correct to point out those were Karloff's last films, the truth is
Nobody gives a fucking shit. Well, let's not waste any more time. It's time for us to lock and load and draw a bead on Targets.
You know it's fake because of the red tip.
I was gonna say, I'm like,
Probably shouldn't be holding his gun like
that's
this.
for sure. Oh, there
the
he
film
goes.
opens up with stock footage from one of Karloff's previous films, The Terror.
Which I've seen.
Fun fact, one of the directors on The Terror was Jack Hill. So,
And Francis Coppola.
Ah.
in case you forgot the title of this movie, that's right there. Big bold letters. In case you missed it.
How
Well, that
can
doesn't
they
look like
open up
Tennessee
with
at all.
footage from a previous
Ah,
movie?
sure, but
You see?
you might be catching a case of early Jack Nicholson there, movie.
Oh
Sorry, Jack. You're not at Johnny just yet.
Here's Jay Leno! As the stock footage ends, we see a group of people watching the film.
They're using his real film for the movie in the
Boris
movie.
yeah!
Karloff.
I spoke too soon.
Seen here playing
Byron Orland.
I'm sorry, what?
Byron Orland.
Say that again.
Byron Orland.
Boris Karloff is playing an actor named Byron Orlock.
An anagram,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Holy shit! Why the fuck would you even bother to hide it if you were gonna be that blatant? The only thing that could be worse is if you got the director to play the director in the movie.
And
What?
He does.
Excuse me?
He does. The guy playing the director is Peter Bogdanovich, the director of the film, and everyone knows he's also the director of The Last Picture Show and What's Up, Doc? Not entirely certain what that second one's about, but judging from the title, it's a biopic of Bugs Bunny starring Barbra Streisand. That sounds amazing.
Peter Bogdanovich was a pretty decent actor in his own right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey dude, where you going? I'd rather get shot.
I love the scratches he puts on it,
I know.
like aged film stock.
Yeah. The colors are also very vivid.
I like.
Anyway, back to the movie. Turns out Boris, Byron here, is no longer happy playing the parts he's given and decides to retire, throwing the studio into chaos. The producer is mad because Byron is walking out of a picture deal, and Sammy, the director, is upset because his next picture was written specifically with Orlock in mind, and without him, his career will stall.
Get it back, boy director. Go and talk to him like it's supposed to be so good, because your next picture just walked out the door. That's why I will.
As Sammy tries to convince Orlock to come back, he reveals what's really behind this sudden retirement.
I'm an anachronism. What does that mean? Sammy, look around you. The world belongs to the young. Make way for them. Let them have it.
Truly, it's no country for old men.
It doesn't take much to identify with what Byron Orlock is saying. I mean, at some point, you're just going to realize, hey, I'm not as young as I used to be. I might be slowing down. Am I even still attractive or useful to anybody anymore? We're so focused
Relatable.
on the beauty and vitality of youth that we've completely lost touch with the power and dignity of old age. I wonder if the movie deals with that.
Tales of his time.
Back in the movie, we see Orlock caught in the crosshairs of a young man named Bobby, who's trying to buy a rifle at a gun shop. As he leaves the shop, he heads back to his car, which I can only assume is a relative of the Impala from Supernatural.
Yeah, still not as good as what's in the trunk of my car.
Oh.
Dude, how come every time we try to see a Twilight movie, we end up killing a prostitute? Well, maybe we'll get it right
Hit
next
home for you.
Little bit. Love me some Twilight.
He's driving down the boulevard of broken foreshadowing to his house in the suburbs, where he lives with his mom, dad, and wife. One of the things that's great about this scene is that he moves around the house as if he's never seen it before. It creates
Yeah.
not only a sense of unease,
This guy is
but gives
great.
a peek
Yeah.
into Bobby's alienated state of mind. The only thing we learn about Bobby's past that might have been a contributing factor to what he's about to do is the fact that he was in the military.
Which, given the timing of the movie, would have been the Croatian War.
Wait, what? Meanwhile, Byron and Jenny discuss the fact that Byron doesn't want to make a scheduled appearance at the Reseda drive-in.
I'm not making that appearance, Ed. What? I'm not making that appearance.
What do you mean, Byron? It's all set. It's all been taken care of. The ads, everything. Byron, now what am I going to do? Would you please bring me a phone? Yes, sir. I don't want to get up.
So that's what cell phones looked like in the 60s.
Yeah.
Boy, get over here and give me a fat road. Man, check Twitter on this shit. Also, people fucking drank in this era.
Yeah.
Holy crap. They fucking had cocktails like 3 times and it's only been a couple of hours. Little John ain't got
Sounds like
nothing
the
on
folks
this
in my
shit.
family.
What? And don't get me
It reminds me
started
of when
on
they thought
casual
Coke
racism.
cured everything
You
and
can just
had it with
stop
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oriental conscience.
I'll see your Oriental conscience and I'll raise you a white guilt. It's all my fault!
Whiteface? Is that a thing?
It's so wicked.
Well, he's responding to a bit where Karloff calls his Asian secretary my little Oriental conscience.
Ah, I see.
Am I all alone here? Hello, am I talking? Am I talking? Is this a mic? I don't even know.
Dude's got a mic.
What's happening?
I'm surprised he stopped. His production was excellent.
As Bobby and his family are sitting down watching TV together, we once again get a peek into his all-American life, nailing home that things are pretty okay for Bobby, at least externally. The truth is, however, his alienation and feelings of insignificance are palpable.
I want to talk to you.
Sit down.
I don't know what's happening to me. get funny ideas.
Like what?
You don't think I can do anything, do you?
Huh? I think you can do anything you want to if you put your mind to it.
Ooh! Respond to obvious cry for help with non-committal and evasive statement. Check. Man, I am just blowing through these traditional white American values. Meanwhile, back in Orlock's hotel room, Sammy, the director, comes to talk, but gets distracted by an old movie playing on TV. And if it wasn't obvious enough before now, they really nail home that this is supposed to be Boris Karloff. Because they're watching The Criminal Code, an actual movie starring Boris Karloff, and they mention the director, Howard Hawks, by name.
The Criminal Code.
Yeah.
The Criminal Code.
It's like an alternate universe.
Yeah.
Instead of Karloff, it's Orlock.
My first really important part.
Same year he played the Frankenstein monster, The Criminal Code.
Ah.
I do that. Be like if they did a biopic of Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, they call him Deppy John. I know that's you, Robin Williams. I know it's you. Radiator to my ball sack, Robin. It's you!
This is where the commercial break would have been back in the day.
Ah.
No more. Good beat.
I like it.
The scenes with Sammy and Orlock are some of the best interactions in the movie. Not only is the dialogue smart, but there's an interesting dichotomy happening here. Orlock is old and weary, while Sam is young and eager. But they share a common language born of the understanding of cinema. They're bound together.
Love film brings people together.
Yeah.
Because they're both in love with film. And it's only now that Karloff, Orlock, actually
Get over it,
opens up
dude.
and discusses what's really bothering him.
By the way, what happens next is perhaps one of the best soliloquies of Karloff's career, outdone only by the one that comes later in this same movie.
Oh, Sammy wants me use. Mr. Boogeyman, King of Blood, they used to call me. Box brothers make you laugh, Garber makes you weep, Orlock makes you scream. On one side, all I be an actor. Oh, it's not that the films are bad. I couldn't even play a straight part decently anymore. I've been doing the other thing too long. Of course you could. And even that isn't the point. You know what they call my films today? Camp. High camp.
High camp? Well, better than that sleepaway camp.
Sleepaway Camp's an 80s slasher movie.
Ah.
I'll explain later.
Yeah.
Eh, what can I say? It was a different time.
My kind of horror isn't horror anymore. There's none. Look at that. No one's afraid of a painted monster.
The only thing you said that's right
Draw a number.
was about this. I'm gonna go offer it to Vincent Price. I think I better go home now.
I think you better stay
I
here.
think I better stay here.
As this is going on, Bobby's wife comes home to find him smoking in the dark.
Please the light off.
Bobby?
Oh, creepy.
Still up.
Please leave the light off.
Why aren't you asleep yet?
I have a headache.
You want to talk now?
Oh, you're tired.
I sure am.
Goes to bed in
Oh,
full
she
makeup
was-
and hair.
I just want to finish this cigarette.
Man, this movie is full of great scenes. If not for the staging and lighting, this would be an incredibly mundane exchange. It's essentially this.
Lighting does add a lot.
Turn on the light. Okay, everything all right? Yeah, just like this one. That's it! But the lighting and staging give the scene an apprehensive and unnerving quality. Even if you look at the scene out of context, you would still know something was wrong.
And then,
The next morning, in perhaps the most chilling scene in the film, Bobby begins his killing spree, starting with his wife, then his mother, and finally his brother, who we haven't met yet but has been mentioned in conversation.
doesn't kill his
After the murder is
dad.
done, he walks through the house in the same detached manner as before. As he cleans up the crime scene, the camera pans on his nose.
I know they will outget me, but there'll be more killing before I die.
While that's going on, Sandy wakes up in Orlok's hotel room.
Huh? If you go mad, I was having a nightmare. I open my eyes, the first thing I see is Byron Orlok.
This scene was actually Karloff's idea, and he improvised this moment in the mirror.
At the door is Jenny, with the travel arrangements for Orlok to return to England. But after getting drunk with Sammy, Orlok decides to do the appearance at the Reseda Drive-In after all.
I might as well make that personal appearance tonight. No, don't say anything. I'm still retired. I told you I wanted to go home on the Queen Mary.
Mary!
Meanwhile, in less pleasant plot developments, Bobby stops off at a gun shop to pick up more ammunition.
Ammunition and coffee!
Yes, hello. I'd like a hazelnut white chocolate mocha, if you don't mind. Yes, soy milk, plenty of whipped cream.
And don't skimp on the 45!
Back at the hotel, Orlok is busy getting ready for the appearance at the Reseda Drive-In. The event is going to be emceed by this radio DJ and...
Ro, looks like Shaggy and Velma worked out after all.
Oh my god.
Does kind of look like them.
Questions
Yeah.
for the Q&A section, and there's really only one thing that can be said.
That haircut, oh my god.
Deadly dumb.
Looked like my old haircut back in the day.
Do something that...
One of the things I like about this scene is going more into the relationship between director and leading man. Sammy's trying to get a performance out of his lead, and nothing else matters.
Why don't you tell them the story?
And it's the actual director giving
What
it.
happens next is perhaps the best performance of Karloff's career.
Once upon a time, many, many years ago, a rich merchant in Baghdad sent his servant to the marketplace to buy provisions. And after a while, the servant came back, white-faced and trembling, and said, "Master, when I was in the marketplace, I was jostled by a woman in the crowd, and I turned to look, and I saw that it was death that had jostled me. And she looked at me and made a threatening gesture. Oh, master, please lend me your horse, and I may ride away from this city and escape my fate. I will ride to Samara, and death will not find me there." So the merchant loaded the horse and the servant mounted it, dug his spurs into its flank, and as fast as the horse could gallop, he rode towards Samara. Then the merchant went to the marketplace, and he saw Death standing in the crowd, and he said to her, "Why did you make a threatening gesture to my servant when you saw him this morning?" And Death said, "I made no threatening gesture. That was only a start of surprise. I was astonished to see him here in Baghdad. I have an appointment with him tonight in Samara."
No one could give a line read like Boris Karloff.
It's a great
It's
monologue.
so good that no matter how many times I see
Mesmerizing.
it, I have to sit and watch it in silence.
It's a good short story.
Yeah.
One of the things that makes this so great is the subtle changes in his performance. He goes from telling the story to an imaginary audience to telling it to us, the actual audience.
Breaking the
and
fourth
then
wall.
finally considering the story himself as he imagines facing his inevitable end. Meanwhile, Bobby heads back to the gas towers from earlier so he can shoot people on the highway.
And, yeah, I think this is pretty much what it would look like if first-person shooters showed you carrying all that equipment around.
Wait.
Like a dipshit.
Wait.
Oh my god, dude, how many pistols are you gonna need when you snipe people
Yeah.
from half a mile away?
Though he gets several shots in, he's interrupted by a station.
Can't blame him for being
Bobby
prepared.
kills him and
Yeah.
makes a break for it, leaving most of his guns and ammo behind.
Wait, hold on, I gotta go back and do something.
As Bobby drives off, he catches the attention
Love me some
and
Aerosmith.
attempts to get away by ducking into a drive-in movie theater.
The same drive-in they'll be playing The Terror.
Oh.
And more people enter the parking lot. Suddenly, Bobby has a hideous realization.
You know, it would be pretty easy to shoot people at a drive-in.
Yeah.
The setup for the next scene is another one of the amazing scenes in the movie, focusing on children playing to intensify the already chilling atmosphere. As Byron Orlock arrives at the theater, Bobby begins his own deadly business. At first, the theatergoers have no idea what's happening.
Their speakers drown out the noise.
As the patrons begin warning each other of the danger. Unfortunately, not in time for everyone.
Sad.
Oh no. The trauma.
Bobby
I love the
drops
shot.
the radio.
Yeah, good cinematography.
Yes.
Especially for the
He
60s.
runs out
Yeah.
from his position behind the screen to take up a new
As the
spot.
night goes on, he becomes
In the
more
chaos,
disorganized.
Mhm.
No one, that is.
They call
except
that
one
devolving,
person.
when a killer is devolving.
That's so wonderful.
As Bobby begins shooting again, he hits Orlock's assistant, Jenny.
She's not dead, just
And
shot.
in a calm rage, Orlock turns and moves towards
It's
Bobby.
almost in a trance.
Yeah.
Shocked and confused between the image on the screen and the real Byron Orlock, Bobby shoots at both, but misses the real Byron. And as the two specters of death come closer to their inevitable confrontation, there are a few things concerning the movie I'd like to discuss.
Earlier I mentioned that despite all of our confusion about shooting sprees, the motivations behind them are actually quite simple.
They all want to leave a mark on the world. A psychopathic boy and his sociopathic friend shoot up their school. A sexually frustrated young man kills four and blames women in an internet video. A young man walks into a crowded movie theater calling himself the Joker before opening fire.
Are you seeing the pattern?
They are all people who are filled with the need to either violently demonstrate their feelings of superiority or to make people pay for their feelings of inferiority. Even in certain cases where there seemed to be no clear motivation, we generally discover later on that this was the motivation all the time. On the morning of Monday, January 29th,
This is a
1979,
good history here.
a 16-year-old girl living in San Diego, California, begins shooting teachers and students of an elementary school across the street from her house. While talking to her, trying to convince her to stop and give herself up, a journalist asked why she was doing this. Her response?
I don't like Mondays.
Most people at this point concluded that she was simply crazy and that her crime was motivationless. However, her simple statement caught the imagination of Bob Geldof and his band, the Boomtown Rats, turning it into the pop song, I Don't Like Mondays.
Yeah.
Years later, the girl wrote Geldof, thanking him for making her
Yeah.
famous. Let's take an even more recent example. On May 23rd, 2014, in Isla Vista, California, near the campus of UC Santa Barbara, a 22-year-old boy killed 6 people and injured
This was
13
8 years
others
ago now.
before committing suicide. However, before going on his deadly rampage, he filmed and uploaded a video to YouTube detailing his motivations, saying how it was essentially
Golden hour.
revenge against women
Yeah.
not sleeping with him.
Sketch that?
That's
Yeah.
what the media ran with. Let's examine this a little further.
Of the 6 victims, 4 were male. In fact, he stabbed 3 of them to death before he made the video. He then drove to a sorority house, shot 2 girls, and continued his killing spree by taking shots and running people down with his car. People he just happened to come across. So if you truly believe his self-described motivations behind his rampage, you have to ask yourself a simple question.
Why didn't he just rape a woman at gunpoint?
Yeah.
Don't bother answering, because the answer is he wanted fame. Something that should already be apparent by the fact that he uploaded his confession to YouTube.
Yeah. It gets dark.
You may
No,
have
it's
noticed
fair.
that I haven't been using a lot of proper nouns here. I've been referring to the killers as him or her. That's because I have a very long-standing rule. And that rule is, if you are going to do something so horrible as murder other people just for fame, I am not gonna repeat your name publicly.
Interesting stance.
I love that.
Fucking dying scary.
And since it's notoriety that a spree killer wants, what better thing to pit him against than a celebrity? A person who has that which they most desire. Both Bobby and Orlock are closely associated with death. Orlock through his films, Bobby through his weapons, murderous intentions, and his white Mustang.
It's a pale horse, get it? Get it? Get it? You got it? Yeah, you get it. You got it. Pale horse. That's right.
And as we return to the confrontation of the two specters of death, we are faced with an unspoken question. Which is more powerful? The old Gothic horror of years gone by, or the new horror of the modern age?
Interesting choice.
Just bitch slaps him to submission.
Infantile state. He asks himself a question we often find ourselves asking after we confront our fears. It seems that it wasn't until this moment that Orlock realizes, in the end, he was not the servant trying to escape his fate. He was death. And as they cart Bobby away, he says something that reveals his true motivations.
Almost sounds smug when he casts it.
Yeah.
For like his own car, he will eventually be abandoned. Forgotten.
Do I even need to say that this is one of my favorite movies?
No, you don't.
Was it obvious? It should have been obvious. Yeah.
Film I can't tell people I love enough, even if you caught me fucking it. It's unlike any of Bogdanovich's other films.
Mass is a
Most
great
likely
film.
It's that way because he had an uncredited co-writer, Hollywood legend Sam.
That's quite a cigar.
When Bogdanovich
Samuel
finished
Fuller.
the first draft of the script, he brought it to Fuller, who immediately began to extensively rewrite it for the first-time director. After the 4-hour cram session, Bogdanovich offered to give Fuller co-author credit, but Sam refused, saying, "Kid, if I put my name on it, they'll think I wrote everything." Which Bogdanovich said, "Actually, Sam, you kinda did."
But despite that, Sam Fuller still sought no credit.
Nice of him.
Yeah.
And
Weirdly
speaking of
humble
credit,
for
I'm tired of
somebody in
having
his
to take credit for
position.
these damn shootings. Man, where are you going? Look, it's gotta be someone in this house. I know it's not me, so who's all here? Mass slasher, you're here. Horror guru's here. Mass shooter guy is here. So who's missing?
This is a weird skit to end on, but pay attention.
You'll never take me alive, shoppers.
Uncle Barney, stop it.
Hey there, nephew. What's all the hubbub?
The hubbub is that you're on a shooting spree and the cops think it's me.
Afraid you can't do that, little Jackie. Bakery Doc just don't dickory dock no more.
Yeah, more like it doesn't exist anymore, but that's beside the point.
Afraid that's not stew. Can't get free, some illustrations are just oozing all over the place. I wish I had Lucy.
So wait, you're telling me this is about not being able to get laid after all?
Afraid to so, kiddo.
God damn it, Uncle Barney, how many times do I have to tell you? If you got problems with male potency, there are drugs for that.
I think I'm a little beyond Viagra's ability to help you.
Not talking about Viagra. I'm talking about something else.
Wait, you me.
That's right.
Cosby style.
There's a after credit scene, so just give it a sec.
Yeah.
Play see the other movies there. I Spit on Your Grave, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hatchet, Reanimator, The Woman. I can't make out what that one on top is.
Oh, yeah, I Can't either.
Wait, that's Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, yep.
It's a pretty good zombie film.
I've heard.
And I think it's good to give credit to the people you borrow from. Even if they do end up trying to take down your video later.
Yeah.
But yeah, this used to be on Blip TV. It was a video hosting site, no longer exists.
Oh.
It was a lot more lenient than YouTube is with using copyrighted clips. And a lot of people miss it.
Yeah.
Planet Dracula Productions. I don't think that Twitter account exists anymore.
Yeah.
And he's no longer on Channel Awesome.
Oh.
Wait, this is a childproof can. And I got no hands to open the bottle. And it's aspirin. That rat bastard.
Winners don't use drugs.
Looks like that's it. So, that was Count Jackula and his review of Targets. What'd you think?
I think he is an excellent movie reviewer. First of all, the film, as somebody who has not seen the film, I already have a massive amount of respect for it. I really like how he highlighted the different artistic choices and all the underlying themes. It's really cool to see, and he did an excellent job of it.
The thing I really liked about Jack back in the day, well, one, I'm a horror guy, so I naturally got into him. And while he didn't put out videos often, kind of like The Unusual Suspect and JonTron, he was once in a blue moon, but when he put something out, it was worth the wait. And I don't remember when his last review was. I think he stopped doing it around 2017 or 18. And I haven't kept up with him for a while, but when he stopped doing the movie reviews regularly, he kind of switched to live streaming.
Oh.
And I tried watching it a few times. It's not the same, and it's mostly him just shooting the shit with his group of interesting friends. And after a while, it kind of becomes drawing, just hard to stay interested.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the best organized.
Yeah.
Like, there was one show where, like, he got so drunk that he actually passed out. And because he was running the show, it went on, like, the other people he had on Skype or whatever. It took them 40 minutes of blasting loud noise to wake him up. He's just sitting there, his head down, and slowly raises it.
That's so embarrassing.
Yeah, and the name of his live stream, it was called back in the day Satanic Sunday, because, I don't know if you remember, but Jack has identified himself as a Satanist, and really lives up to the hardcore image.
Yeah.
And he had an alternate stream he would do on Tuesday. This is the actual title, called Titty and Shrimp Tuesday.
Interesting choice.
What were your favorite gags in the review?
Well, I loved how he was mirroring the shooter. So he was also having his own scene. I'm not gonna lie, at the end, the skit, it didn't resonate as much with me, but the whole production, I think I just really enjoyed. So I would say my favorite gags, probably just, honestly, I loved all of his commentary. Like, all of his commentary was just spot on, I'd say.
Yeah, that's another thing. Despite the crazy get-up and the raunchy humor, he showed himself on many occasions, whether it be Targets or his review of I Spit on Your Grave, that he's pretty intelligent and he can go deeper than you'd expect. And my favorite jokes, I think, would be the horror guru bopping him in the head.
Yeah.
Like, he's another reviewer, and they're roommates.
Oh.
He bops him and goes, "How could you forsake Zach and Marie shoot up a kindergarten?" And And they bring the phone in. He's like, so that's what cell phones look like.
I know.
And Grandma, Guy, they're old enough that they can verify that is, if you wanted a phone in a restaurant, that's how they'd have to do it.
That's great. I thought that it would have to be connected.
Yeah, long cord. Bring a long cord. The ammunition and coffee part.
Oh, yeah.
And, I just love this one. Oh my god, dude, how many pistols are you gonna need?
Seriously.
Although, something I like about that is, this guy is not well.
No.
And you notice the more things go bad for him, the more he drops his guns, the more messed up he becomes. And I like that.
Yeah.
Like the whole movie, like I'll get into it in a sec, but it gives a very realistic feel.
Yeah.
And I told you I would explain the sleepaway camp scene.
Yes.
Jump to this timestamp if you don't want sleepaway camp spoiled. Sleepaway Camp is a 1983 slasher film, summer camp movie, and it's unique for the fact that the main killer is like a 13, 14-year-old girl, and the fact that she's the killer is not the big twist.
Oh.
You see, at the very end, she's completely naked, and she's holding up a severed head, and when the camera pans back, we see she has a penis.
Let me clarify. She's how old?
14. Just to be clear, the filmmakers used an adult body double.
Okay, wonderful. Continue.
Just gotta be sure.
Just gotta double check there.
And the good guy, when he sees, she has a dick, he looks at her, he's like, she's a boy. And it remains a memorable and somewhat controversial slasher film.
Yeah.
Some people find the ending a little problematic. It does stick out. Like, the ending is what it's memorable, it's genuinely shocking. If you haven't seen it, sorry.
It's okay.
And that game he's playing, that's like a 1980s style video game.
Oh.
Like back in the day, video games, you would type text and then text would come back. Like, that's kind of how it worked.
Oh, interesting.
So he's basically playing the sleepaway camp game.
Oh.
And, you are likely to be killed by a tranny. And he's like, it was a different time. Although, I wonder, it's arguable if the main character of Sleepaway Camp even is trans, because they established she was a boy originally, taken in by a psychotic aunt who forced him to dress up and act like a girl against his will.
Yeah, it's a little different, it sounds like.
Yeah, the movie's got a few flaws, but anyway, I just want to explain that reference.
That's definitely an interesting concept. Oh, do you mind if I just elaborate on a point that you had mentioned? I'm such a big true crime fan, and I love listening to true crime podcasts. And I loved how you mentioned how the killer was, the shooter in Targets, was starting to get more and more disorganized. Because I was also a psych major, so that's also just a
college girl.
That's also just a huge theme you'll find with killers. Spree killers, serial killers, they tend to start devolving. Which means getting more disorganized as their kind of psyche and their reality starts breaking down. So I really like that observation.
Yeah, some people might disagree with me on this, but I kind of liked how, despite covering the subject of mass shootings and this movie, Jack did not take the opportunity to turn this review into an overly preachy anti-gun PSA.
I liked that too.
Which I think would have just brought it down a little. But I like that. And as for the movie Targets itself, I own my own copy, and I don't think this DVD is even in circulation anymore.
Wow.
But it is a genuinely good film. Peter Bogdanovich did a lot with it.
Yeah.
I don't mention him enough, but Tim O'Kelly, who plays Bobby, he was great as this character.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a very verbal role, and we don't get a lot of backstory, if any, but he plays it like, the fact that we don't get his backstory is what I think helps it work.
Totally.
Because in a way, most mass shooters, most killers, we don't find out much about them until it's too late.
Yeah, exactly.
One part that Jack kind of overlooked, like they bring up the military thing, but something that happens in the film that he didn't really highlight here is in the movie, Bobby lives, he and his wife live with his parents, and his father is clearly a very domineering figure, telling Bobby what they should do, and Bobby nervously nodding and saying, "Yes, sir," and telling his wife what to do at many points.
Yeah.
So that's one part that he didn't go into, that I think is also a good possible reason for how he became what he is.
Yeah, totally. And he didn't kill his dad, or at least we didn't see him kill his dad, correct?
Yeah.
So that's also an interesting concept, because the other thing I know about spree killers, or serial killers in general, is that they tend to save the last kill for the one that they really want to kill. Like, there was a serial killer named Edmund Kemper, who's called the co-ed killer, and he killed a bunch of women, but he was leading up to killing his mother, who was his true enemy, who was similar in that domineering, kind of humiliating way. So I find that very interesting as well.
And also with the movie, The Terror, the movie that they opened the film with, I grew up with The Terror. Like, I was that weird film kid. I first saw The Terror when I was like 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
And it's got some pacing issues. Like, it was written and directed by 5 different people at different periods.
Okay.
So it's a little messy, but it is unsettling for a 60s film. And Roger Corman, he had Boris Karloff under contract for like a specific amount of days. And checking the contract, Karloff still owed him 2 days of filming. So he told Bogdanovich, if you want to use Karloff for 2 days, you got him. And Bogdanovich wrote targets, and Karloff was so impressed with the script that he said he would work beyond the 2 days to get the film made.
Oh, that really says something.
I think Roger Corman probably assumed he was just gonna make another spooky castle type movie. But no, Bogdanovich, he took it to a new direction.
It's so poignant too for, even today, which is honestly very sad that the themes are still the same.
Yeah, like, I saw this movie in 2011. First time I ever saw it, and I remember thinking, 2011, this film from 1968 is still surprisingly relevant.
Yeah.
And now in 2022, it is still even relevant. Like, this is a movie that weirdly, despite the very 60s setting, kind of feels timeless.
Yeah, and one of my favorite parts too that Jack mentioned was, in a very interesting take, was that he doesn't want to say the killer's names, which I actually really appreciated, and especially, nowadays how it is so relevant. I liked how also he didn't make the entire thing political, but just saying that is taking a stance in and of itself.
Except for Edmund Kemper.
Except for Edmund Kemper, which I did say his name, although I don't think he did it to be famous.
I won't say this guy's name, but I'll say his nickname.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the Iceman?
No, I have not.
He was a mafia hitman, and he's technically listed as a serial killer.
Yeah.
And he died, before he died in 2006, he did a bunch of interviews where he took obvious glee in talking about his killings, some of which people believe he may have lied about, just to up his credibility.
Yeah.
And like, I maybe remember this wrong, but I remember he said, "What do they call me? An assassin? Oh, I like that."
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's about all I have to say. This is the review that introduced me to Jackula, because it was a movie that I was very familiar with, and Targets itself, I think, is a excellent film, and it may be a little hard to find now, but trust me, it's worth checking out. And Boris Karloff, everyone knows him as the Frankenstein monster from the 30s, but this, according to his daughter, his personal favorite performance, shows the true capability of his talent.
Definitely shows the range. I was impressed with what I saw.
Glad you enjoyed it, and we will see you again soon.